today I am, well, as you can see, I am in the heart of downtown Atlanta. This is Woodruff Park that I'm standing in right this second. I am in Atlanta today to tell a story, a heartbreaking story that's just tragic and it's tough. In 2020, it was a normal Christmas for the Williams family who lived here in Atlanta, Georgia. They opened all their presents and they celebrated in front of their Christmas tree with their whole family, all along not knowing that this was going to be the very last Christmas that they were going to get to spend with their 16-year-old daughter and sister, Kalecia Williams. The very next night after that Christmas, on December the 26th of 2020, Kalecia would be shot and killed while at a party with some friends here in downtown Atlanta. Today I'm going to be going to the places where this happened and I'm going to talk about the story. Kalecia had a pretty large following on TikTok. This story today, this is the death of Kalecia Williams from here in Atlanta. This Woodruff Park here, man, this is just like an incredible park with the, you know, the views are incredible. "16-year-old Kalecia Williams grew up right here in Atlanta, Georgia. She had gone to school here in Atlanta and she had friends from all over this massive city. At 14 years old, when Kalecia got her first smartphone, she found the popular social media app TikTok, and she very quickly began dancing to music and posting videos to the app, with her friends and family included. Over a couple of years' time, Kalecia actually started gaining some followers, and she saw that people actually liked her bubbly, quirky personality. On December 26, 2020, Kalecia Williams woke up after having an absolutely wonderful Christmas day with her family. First thing that morning, Kalecia gets a call from a friend of hers named Infinity. And Infinity says that she wants to go have a party that night with just a few of their friends. Infinity proceeds to tell Kalecia that her parents had rented an Airbnb for the night. That way they could go have the party. And by the end of that phone call, Kalecia was like super excited, and she immediately ran to her mom and to her stepdad, and she asked them if she could go. Kalecia's parents told her yes, that she could go, but they wanted to talk to Infinity's parents to verify that there would be some sort of an adult chaperone there before they let her go. Kalecia quickly called Infinity back and told her, and they put both of their parents on the phone together so that they could talk. Infinity's parents assured Kalecia's parents that they were going to be there all night, and that they promised that they were only letting Infinity invite a few girls over. There were going to be no boys allowed. By the time Kalecia's parents ended that call, they weren't concerned at all anymore about Kalecia going to this party, and they felt like she would be safe and in good hands. Later on that evening, Kalecia heads over to her friend Infinity's home so that they can then head over to the Airbnb for the party. And it's at this point that Kalecia learns that plans have now changed. They're no longer having the party at the Airbnb, but now Infinity's mom has rented them a room right here at the Regency Hyatt Hotel in Atlanta. This massive hotel right in front of us there. Basically, Infinity's parents had just checked out the room and then they left, leaving the room for the teenagers. Shortly after 8 p.m., Kalecia calls her mom to check in, and she tells her mom that the party hasn't started yet, that it was just her and Infinity that were there at this point. But Fearing that she would get into trouble, Kalecia fails to mention to her mother that the party has now moved here to the Hyatt. She also failed to mention to her mother that there were no adults here either. Kalecia and Infinity were in the hotel room, room 722. They were in the room here by themselves.
What Pink at? Pink ain't here yet. I'm Shane. Let me see the room. I'm Shane. Oh, that shit fire.
Just before midnight, that December 26th, Infinity answered a phone call and she left the hotel room, claiming that she was going to go downstairs to the lobby. That way she could meet some of the other people who were coming to the party. Kalecia, who is now in this giant hotel room all by herself, she gets bored. She manages to film and upload 3 different TikTok videos. And at 12:02 p.m., she pulls out her phone and she starts recording what would be her very last TikTok video ever. At the end of that video, you can actually see that someone comes into the room, startling Kalecia. She immediately jumps and then she takes a step forward over to the left towards her phone, and then the video cuts. Just about 15 minutes later, Kalecia was carried off of the elevators here by her friend Infinity and a 16-year-old male named Kerry Brown. They exit the elevators and they're screaming, "Help, she's been shot." At 12:23 a.m., just 21 minutes after Kalecia posted that last TikTok, paramedics who had arrived here at the Hyatt, they declared Kalecia was deceased. She had bled out from a gunshot wound.
And we start with more violent crime in the city of Atlanta involving young people. Right now, a 16-year-old girl is dead following a shooting at the Hyatt Hotel downtown.
Police tell us it happened around 12:30 this morning in a hotel room at the Hyatt Regency on Peachtree Street in downtown Atlanta. Atlanta police say the teen was staying with a friend when she was shot and later died at the hospital. They have not released her name. Right now, police are talking to 2 other people who were in the room at the time. No word, though, if any charges have been filed.
The Atlanta Police Department, they arrive here on scene. They have this entire road shut down here, and they get here right about at the same time as the paramedics got here. They go up to room 722 where Kalecia was at, and they begin looking for evidence. Both Infinity and Kerry Brown are still on the scene, and they are immediately taken down to police headquarters for questioning. And it's here that this 16-year-old boy named Kerry Brown confesses to law enforcement that he was the one who shot Kalecia Williams, although he claimed he never meant for her to die. Kerry Brown tells the police that it was him who entered the room at the end of that TikTok video. He said that he came into the room and she wasn't expecting him. He walked straight over to Kalecia and he forcibly manhandled her onto the bed in an attempt to sexually assault her. Kerry tells the detectives that Kalecia wasn't having any of it and she fought back. At some point throughout the assault, he did manage to actually assault her for just a second before she managed to gain the strength to push him off. And it was at this point that Kerry Brown became so enraged that Kalecia just wouldn't let him do what he wanted to do. So he pulls out a firearm from his pants that were laying on the floor, and he fires one shot into Kalecia's pelvic area, or her private area. The whole assault only lasted a few minutes. It was after the shot that Infinity came back into the room, and then it was about 10 to 15 minutes after that when Infinity and Kerry brought Kalecia down to the lobby, which is where the police and the paramedics found them all when they arrived. It was only 5 minutes or so later at 12:23 a.m. when she was pronounced deceased by the paramedics. After telling law enforcement all of this, Kerry Brown was immediately arrested, and he was charged with felony murder, sexual assault, aggravated assault, reckless conduct, and possession of a firearm by a minor. Strangely though, the law enforcement here in Atlanta, they didn't go notify Kalecia's family of her murder. The next morning, after all this had happened, at about 8 a.m., a full 8 hours after the murder went down, Kalecia's mother started trying to call her phone to see how the party went, and she didn't get an answer. She tried and tried and tried several times, and Kalecia never picked up the phone. So she wound up calling Infinity's mother, who then broke the news to her that her daughter had been murdered. I can't think of a more horrible way for that have to gone down. She called the adult who was supposed to have been watching her child but wasn't. A few days after the murder, Infinity called Kalecia's mom because she wanted to know what happened to her daughter, and she just, asked Infinity to give her side of the story. During this conversation, Infinity changed her story at least 4 times. Not only was her story inconsistent, but when Kalecia's mom would ask a question, Infinity couldn't answer it correctly. This led to speculation and rumors that, for whatever reason, this Infinity had actually set up Kalecia to be raped by this Kerry Brown. There's also the speculation that the 16-year-old boy, Kerry, somehow coerced this Infinity into doing this and getting Kalecia into that hotel room all by herself so that he could do this to her against her will. Mainly because she kept turning down his advances. Despite all the speculation and accusations, it is believed that no one wanted Kalecia to die, and no one thought that Kerry Brown would kill her. But in the moment, he got so irate because Kalecia just wouldn't lay there and take it. She fought back, and it made him so mad that he pulled the gun out and then he shot her in the area that was right in front of him. And because he was actively trying to assault her, her pelvic area there, that was what was right in front of him. Now, there's no proof that Infinity had anything to do with this. Infinity has never admitted to having anything to do with this, and she has never given any kind of explanation as to why she would have done this. So like I said, it's just speculation at this point. The last couple of years since Kalecia's murder, her family has been very vocal on social media and on the news, claiming that her daughter did not receive justice. They are saying that sure, Kerry Brown was the person who actually assaulted her, and sure, he was the one that pulled the trigger, but that they believe there were more people involved in Kalecia's death than just Kerry Brown. So they created pages online, and they've actually come here to the Hyatt Regency, and they've held protests standing right out in front of the building here. But to date, no one else has been charged with Kalecia's death. Kerry Brown, who was 16 years old when he murdered Kalecia Williams, well, he was sentenced as a minor, and he only spent about 1 year in prison before he turned 18 and he was released, meaning he murdered her, and he only did 1 year in prison, and now he's out walking the streets out here with you and I. Kalecia's family couldn't believe that he was getting out of prison after only 1 year, and they were so irate that they changed their protest from arresting the other people to just arresting the person responsible for her death. This whole debacle has caused Kalecia's family to become irate with the city of Atlanta and the Atlanta Police Department. They also blame Infinity's parents for straight up lying to them and not being there. And they blame the Hyatt Regency here, who didn't say anything when they saw a group of young teenagers who had a hotel room all to themselves. To this day, Kalecia's mother is actively involved in doing everything that she can to get justice for her daughter. She could have been a TikTok star one day, and she could have supported her entire family, but instead, because of one teenager's selfish actions, wanting something that he was denied, she can never make another TikTok video ever. That is gonna do it for this video today from here in downtown Atlanta in the murder of Kalecia Williams. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. It means so much to me, and it helps keep Kalecia's story alive. If you're new here, go down, hit that subscribe button, and then hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. If you're one of those who's wanting to help support the channel, there's links down in the description box below you can check out. But for the most part, you know, I just can't thank you for watching the video. That means a lot to me. I will be back again tomorrow with another story. So until then, please, all of you, stay safe and stay healthy. Much love to you all.